Don't forget to subscribe, guys. It means so much. Thanks. Hey guys, it's Miles here. You might recognize me from this past season of MasterChef with Gordon Ramsay, but today I'm here to teach you guys how to use the business strategy game. It's an assignment that I got back in like 2015. I've been helping students since then, which is kind of crazy to think about, past their class, because a lot of people are just, they take the course and are hung out to dry. They're like, their professor's like, hey, here's this assignment, sink or swim, your grade's on the line. And like for me, that was the case, and it was super like overwhelming, and a lot of people actually failed, which yeah, it's really crazy that I don't know, I don't see how like they're like professors aren't teaching this stuff, and I've seen where certain professors don't even know the stuff. They give the students bad advice, which is kind of crazy. But like the business strategy game is pretty complex. But today I'm going to walk you through like how to use it, the basic overview, because it is a lot. I'm going to keep it simple. And part of the reason for that is there's so many different scenarios where one point of advice won't work in another scenario and it'll backfire. And I don't want to do that to you guys. So like a year by year strategy, like to me is like impossible to make, because it won't work for everyone, and like that's misleading. I don't want to mislead anybody. So yeah, I've also linked in the description some of my other videos, or you can go to my main YouTube and see some other BSG related videos. So I'm probably gonna say a lot of the same stuff, but you know, maybe there's something I mentioned in one of the videos that I didn't mention in this video. So be sure to go check those out if you need more help. Or feel free, if you're struggling or you're just like really overwhelmed, uncertain, you know, have a job on the line. Like, you know, I've helped people out pass their class because they were concerned about their future. So feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my contact info, email only, please, because like I need everyone. Like I don't want to miss a message. So just email me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So let's go. Without further ado. First page is compensation and training. This is where the very basics of like your workforce, where you're going to compensate them. It's broken down into each market. First, you're going to start off with only North America and Asia. It's up to you to expand over time to Europe and Latin America. I would recommend doing so, but you have to be doing well to do so. So don't overwhelm yourself. Don't do everything right away. This isn't where you expand plans anyway. But that said, you've got your base wage, incentive pay, fringe benefits, and best practices. So base wage, generally leave around like, you know, 1% over LY. Like you can increase it more if you'd like, and motivate your workers to be more productive, but it's not something that's going to make or break you. Incentive pay, similar. Like just don't go crazy with it, because you can go crazy with it. Okay, don't listen. I know you like your workers, okay, but fuck me, we don't have a lot of money. All right, and so fringe benefits, similar thing, like the benefits for your workers. It's okay, just cheap out on that. This section, it's not crazy important. Okay, so don't fret about it. Everything in the BSG is important, but like it's not the most important. Let's put it that way. Unless like you'll have more problems here spending out the wazoo than like just like leaving it kind of at the default. Okay. Best practices. Now we're talking. So you can overspend here. You don't want to do that, but just, you know, stay in a happy middle range around here. Okay. And the reason why is your best practices helps your workforce over time get better and better. Okay, so it's like a sauce. You know, since I was a master chef, I got to relate it to cooking. If you have a spaghetti sauce, okay, you make it, right? You take it off the stove after you combine the ingredients after 5 minutes. It's not gonna taste that great, all right? It'll still taste tasty, but if you let it work all day at a low heat, simmer away, it's gonna taste even better. And then if you put it in the fridge overnight, that sauce is gonna develop. It's gonna be the best sauce you've ever had, okay? That's like best practices. So there you go. Supervisors, listen, I've worked at jobs where people are micromanaging, so I make sure that we don't have any supervisors. No, seriously, like just like you don't need a shitload of it's a ratio. So like, yeah. So don't worry too much about it. I always leave these at 0. Who cares about their compensation? They're already making more money, you know what I mean? Feel free to increase it by 1 or 2% if you want to. It's not a big deal. So then you come here and ignore all these numbers. These numbers are just like, yeah, pretty bad actually. These you've got your different facilities like we mentioned before, branded footwear production. Now what you're gonna do here is these 4 variables comprise your star rating essentially. Okay, now increasing models doesn't increase the star rating. It actually kind of, I believe, has a negative impact on it. Because if we go down to, let's just do 50. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. I'm making a video on this stuff. No, I promise I know what I'm talking about. I placed first globally, helped a ton of people. So, but the models more so drive demand than anything. So, it reduces the amounts, like if we were to just produce 50, okay, we're gonna effectively produce 50 models in a higher quantity. We're gonna have less rejects, if that makes sense. So 500 models, there's gonna be more mistakes made. It's kind of irrelevant, but just so you know that that's how it works. So superior materials and enhanced styling is what you kind of tinker with to adjust your SQ rating, all right? So, you know, you can kind of do what you want. Move it around, get your strategy if you want like a medium quality, a high quality, a low quality. Depends on what you want to do, okay? So TQM and Six Sigma is similar to the best practices. You can overspend on it, but it's important, okay? So like, I'd say anywhere between like $1 to $4 is okay. Just keep an eye on like your projections, your profit margins, and adjust accordingly depending on your scenario. When you first start out on the models, you can kind of leave it where it's at. I think you start out at like 200. You can bump it to 250 if you're able to properly like meet that additional demand with supply. It just depends, okay? If you're uncertain, stay at the 200. It's fine to start out with. I see a lot of people drop down to 50. Doesn't really make sense to me. Like if you're doing 10-star shoes, that's like the only like scenario I could see that possibly making some sense. And even then I try to offer more models, because that drives demand. It's more costly, especially if you have a higher SQ, but it's, yeah. Oh yeah, down here, sorry. North America, Europe, Asia, Latin America. This is where you determine your pairs to be manufactured. So, for example, like here, we've got 7,200 pairs available, but we only have 5,400. The difference goes to the private label market to be available for sale, whereas we've got 6,000 here and 6,000 pairs being manufactured. So we won't have any in private label from that particular market. It doesn't mean we can't ship them from that market to another market, but yeah, just so you know how that works. Production facilities. This is where you purchase equipment and space for new plants and do your plant upgrades. So the way this works, you've got purchase equipment for production. So you'd like drop down here. See how it says 0? It's because we don't have any space available. We've got space available, 5,000, but we already have 5,000 pairs. So say we wanted another 1,000 pairs. We do that, but it still says 0. Why? Because we have to wait for that space to be built for the upcoming round. So you gotta think ahead here. So, like years back, they used to have a thing where you could like sell to other companies, which was really cool. So like if a company screwed up and bought too much space, they could put it out in the market and other teams could buy it. It was really cool. I don't know why they took it away, but you guys don't have to worry about that anymore. They took a lot of stuff away since I've played it. They've actually made it easier, believe it or not, because there were like ways you could just freaking like leverage so much and dominate and become the monopoly. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so like here we can purchase new equipment, right? Since we have the space available. Okay, so we've got 2,000 pairs space available. We have 0 pairs currently, you know, or 0 0 equipment to produce 0 pairs, or yeah, exactly. So now we'll have equipment to produce 1,000 pairs and 1,000 pairs. This is new and refurbished. Obviously new equipment is more efficient. You're gonna get more bang for your buck, but it's also more expensive. So I generally just split the two. If like, it really doesn't matter that much. The only time stuff like that matters in this game is if you're doing really bad. Then you need to go like all refurbished, you know, because it's every dollar counts. So yeah, don't worry too much about it. Also, these guys, the production improvement options, you gotta know what you're doing, okay? So simply put, you can read about it. You can look at the capital outlay, how much it costs, and then the annual cost savings, okay? So you can say, okay, we'll make our money back after 2 rounds, and then some. But, you know, like down here, this is gonna take freaking forever. So like, you gotta make sure you know what you're doing, because you can't reverse them. And some people want to just gravitate towards like saying yes to everything, and then they get stuck and they're like, so like, just if you're doing fine, don't like push it, you know what I mean? Like, unless you really know, or like your professor, which even then could be risky, says, you know, like this is great or whatever, just be careful, okay? Sometimes it's best not to get your hand stuck in the cookie jar. You know what I mean? So distribution and warehouse. This is where this page looks relatively simple and straightforward. This is where you distribute from your plants, okay? So the way this chart works is this column is like the actual plant, okay? So this is yeah, I always get columns and rows confused. This is a column, right, guys? Let me know in the comments. This column, this is a row. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, the big text is the actual plant, okay? The little text is where you're shipping to. So let's say we've got 3,000 pairs going to North America. And then from North America, we've got 2,400 pairs going to Europe, Africa. Okay, so that's how that works. So what you want to do is, see how this says -6? It's because we have too much. So what I do, like, oh, 24,16. Dang it. All right. And ignore the actual numbers I'm inputting. I'm just showing you guys right now. I'm not doing a decision. So similarly over here, we've got Asia, 3,600 pairs from Asia going to Asia, and then 1,200 pairs going to Latin America from Asia, and then Latin America is shipping 1,700 pairs to itself. Just kidding. They're just like selling them from that plant. Not from the plant. They're shipping them to read. You guys get what I mean, okay? Dang it. So what you want to look for is down here, your production inventory surplus or shortfall, okay? So right now, we've got a crazy surplus. Crazy surplus. This isn't good. So like, you want to be like 0 to like 100 to 150, okay? So an option you've got, if you need to, it's not the best option, is to sell LY, which here we are, it's not smart to, because it's a loss right here, okay? So you can check, you know, all your markets. Generally, you won't really need to do this unless you're like in trouble like these people. Sorry. I don't find it funny. I'm like, dang, yeah, they need to do something. But yeah, so that's how that page works. Internet marketing, This is where you get into like your marketing for like your different market segments. So wholesale, internet. All right. Wholesale, I usually work on first because you need to base your internet price at a 40% higher price than your wholesale price. So generally I'll be changing the wholesale price, which will affect, so like if I start here, I'm gonna have to come back here anyway. So I always go to wholesale, and we'll look at that. Just like, so we'll decide our price. First, you know, you got to look at your inventory surplus or shortfall, like I mentioned before on the other screen. A lot of these numbers are tied into each page, so this is the same number that was on the distribution page. So we adjust these accordingly. Our goal is to try to get demand met while having a good profit margin, which these margins are not good. Not good. You're in good shape if you're at 20, 30+%. Okay? Like mediocre goal is like 15%. You're kind of like borderline on being in a lot of trouble. All right? So you leverage advertising, mail-in rebate, delivery time, retailer support. It'll mainly be between wholesale price and brand advertising. So then you come here and you can leverage advertising, retail price. Keep in mind, this is going to affect the bottom line here as well. Okay. So let's say like we lower or we increase our marketing like crazy. We come back here, this number is going to be lower because more people bought our product off the internet. So yeah, this is going to be intriguing how this works. So yeah, we'll go to private label. All right. Now this is an entirely different market from wholesale. All right. This is, if you're, just in case you're unaware of what private label is, it's when like a bigger company, like let's say Kellogg's, sells a package of cereal to Kroger and allows them to put their Kroger's Super Puffs on, you know, but it was actually made by Kellogg's. You know what I mean? But they sell it to them at a really cheap price, potentially like a different recipe with cheaper, you know, materials or ingredients. And then they sell it. So this is like, we're the big company. We're selling to the people who want to relabel it private label. Okay. So the way this works is like we put out a bid offer and it's either accepted or rejected based on what other offers are in the market. So you have to look at your competitive efforts for this. You have to come down here to the private label segment and look at offer price. The maximum that will be accepted will be 48.31. Okay. And also the minimum SQ has to be 4.6. So you see how this is red because it's not 4.6. We got to get it to 4.6, which there it's fine. And we got to keep in mind the price, and also we have to distribute accordingly. Okay. And you also want to make sure that you're making money. So you look at your margin over direct cost, and then this yes or no means like, do I want to assume that the bid was purchased or not? So hopefully that makes sense, right? I kind of moved fast there, but I feel like it makes sense. Celebrity endorsements, very important to drive demand. However, some industries get in a bidding war and just kind of like negate the market, okay? So like, try not to do that because you're just going to hurt yourself too. I've seen industries where like everyone just wants to price at the lowest price, offer the highest product, and then like get all the celebrities. When everyone's doing that, everyone's score goes down, and it really sucks because like even someone like me coming in trying to give advice, there's like, hey, you know what? Everyone's screwed this crap up. Like everyone. So it really sucks when that happens, but I mean like it happens quite frequently too. You'd be surprised. But like just try not to like instigate that kind of stuff, you know, because it screws everyone. But you'd enter your bid price, and you can only win a max of 3. So that's something they introduced fairly recently. So Corporate social responsibility is very important for your image rating. Do this progressively over time. Don't just like max everything out, because it's also a progressive thing, progressively beneficial. Does that make sense? So like if you maxed everything out, you're just going to be spending more money without really that much more of a gain. So energy initiatives, recycle packaging, I personally don't really ever do. Charitable contributions, ethics training and enforcement, improve working conditions, cafeteria, childcare, safety equipment, you get the gist. Code of conduct. So all of these are important to do. Just do them like over time. Make sure you're not hurting your projected performance, your investor expectations. You've got to meet or exceed. Last page, finance and cash flow. Very important. Pretty straightforward. Don't issue stocks. Just don't. It just doesn't work. It screws you over. Makes your image rating plummet. Doesn't really get you that much cash back. Just doesn't make sense. I wish it was more effective to leverage in a certain regard, but yeah. Stock repurchase, very effective if you do it properly. You have to make sure that you're gonna perform well the following year. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And you also need to make sure that it doesn't impact your credit rating, because your credit rating is really hard to recover. Like these guys, see how our bank loans won't let us, just like, you know, if you have a bad credit score yourself, you're not gonna get that credit card you want. Anyway, yeah, so like you can see how these are grayed out because they have a C- right now. They can only do the 1 year loan, which has the highest interest rate, which isn't good. So yeah, just make sure, well, stock repurchase is important because it's going to boost all your stock related factors if done properly. You can even leverage debt to do so. Just make sure you're doing it right. Make sure it doesn't impact your credit rating or your credit score. Dividends, equally, I wouldn't say equally. They're important, but they're less effective in that regard. So like there are some years where you can't really repurchase stock if you've been doing so. So then you can like turn to dividends if you've got some free cash flow, which down here, not the case. So don't, like, if you were in this scenario, you're not repurchasing stock, okay? You're just not. I mean, you could want to, but I wouldn't advise it. So I feel like that's a good overview for you guys to get the hang of it. Hopefully you feel more confident, because if you look at the help documents or the help videos or some of the other like extremely excessive, detailed, unnecessarily videos online, it's too much. It's not what you need, in my opinion. So I want to make it straightforward, simple. That's how it works. Look at the scoreboard after each decision. Look at the competitive efforts, see the trends that the other teams are doing, and then just kind of work from there. There's a lot of reports you can dive into if you want to get really analytical with it, but it's really about meeting the investor expectations, driving demand for your product, you know, becoming an industry leader. That's pretty much, it's pretty straightforward, to be entirely honest. There's a lot of factors. I've been doing it for years, so like I don't want to like, I was overwhelmed when I was in your shoes, so like don't make me like, oh yeah, he says it's so easy, I'm sweating bullets over here, because I was there. That's why I made these videos in the first place. Because when I got on YouTube to look up tutorials, like at the time there was like nothing, and there were just like some people out there that were just like rambling on and on and on, and like took forever to explain stuff, and I was like, dude, seriously? So I just closed those videos and I just like went to town, fingers crossed, and I placed first globally somehow. So it was really cool, actually. I was like, dang, I kind of figured this out. So yeah, I've been helping people ever since. So if you do need help directly, reach out to me via email. Leave it in the description or the comments or both. Feel free to watch my other videos. I'll show you, I'll probably like copy a little video section in here about like where they're all listed. because there's some with similar titles out there that aren't my videos. Go figure. I guess, you know, people like my titles enough to copy them. But yeah, I hope this helps, bottom line. And yeah, that's it for me. I will see you guys in the next one, and good luck with your BSG. One last thing, guys. If this video helped you out in any way, obviously like it on here. But if you have a Twitch account, please go drop me a follow, as that is what I'm currently pursuing. I game a lot on there. It'd be a dream come true if I was able to make it in the Twitch world. But also, if you have Amazon Prime, even if you're not on Twitch, you can give me a Prime sub, which helps support my dream, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So, I truly appreciate the support in advance, and good luck on your BSG. No! Is that panic drilling?
Born ready.
Yeah, Lo, I like that. I'm a variety streamer